Chapter 19. After a few months at Birkenau, we were told Auschwitz needed workers. Since Auschwitz was nearby, a sister camp to Birkenau, they marched us down the road and across the fields to get there. Our capos stopped us at the station, where we waited for new prisoners to join us. You could tell they were new because they stepped off the trains in real clothes, not camp uniforms, with their luggage and children in tow. "Leave your luggage," the Nazis told them. "Why? We were told to bring it with us," they argued. The Nazis promised them it would all be returned to them in due time, and the new prisoners believed them. The Nazis loved having new prisoners who didn't know what was coming. It amused them. I could only feel sorry for these new arrivals. They had no idea the walking nightmare that lay in wait for them. "Have you heard of Auschwitz?" our capo asked the new prisoners. "No." "Someone's waiting for you inside. Do you know who?" "Death, of course. Death waits for you. Look and see." The new prisoners kept their distance from us veteran prisoners as we were herded toward the main gate. They looked at us with wide eyes and pulled their children away from us. Did we look like monsters to them? I glanced around at the other prisoners who had come with me from Birkenau. We were skin and bones, with shaved heads and shuffling gaits. The guy's gaits means the way they walked. It means they didn't pick their feet up, they kind of shuffled it, like old people do. And red skin on our arms where they'd tattooed us. Our eyes were sunk into our heads. Our ears stuck out like donkey ears. We must have smelled wretched. Though, of course, we'd all been long accustomed to our stench. I was 15, maybe 16, and I looked like a 60-year-old man. To these people, just off the train, we must have looked like escaped mental asylum patients, with our shaved heads and our wooden shoes and oversized blue and gray striped uniforms. If only they knew that this was what awaited them. If they weren't taken right to the gas chambers and the furnaces. We passed under the front gates of Auschwitz, where the German words Arbeit macht frei were written above the gate. I knew enough German to translate it. Work makes you free. A smiling SS guard told us a very different story as we passed. "You come in through the front gate," he said, "but the only way out is through the chimney." I looked up with the new prisoners to the tops of the brick chimneys, where a thick black smoke poured out into the blue-white sky. The crematorium. Little flecks of gray fluttered down all around us, collecting on puddles of water in the yard. I watched a little girl in a blue dress catch one on her tongue like snow. I didn't have the heart to tell her it was the ashes of the people who had come before us. I recognized the assembly yard before they ever told us what it was. They all looked the same. A big muddy field surrounded by barbed wire fence with a bullet-ridden brick wall, especially for executions. Auschwitz prisoners, in charge of crowd control, organized us into a single file line. One of them, shambling up the line, whispered urgent advice. "You're 18, you're in good health, and you have a trade. You're 18, you're in good health, and you have a trade." "What?" said the man in front of me. He wore black trousers and a black vest over a clean white shirt, and he stood with his wife and their young son. The boy couldn't have been more than 10. What did that man say? "Why should I tell them I'm 18? "Your boy," I said. "Tell them your boy is 18 and has a trade." They recoiled when they saw me. Monster that I was. See if you don't look like this, look the same in a year, I thought. What? But that's preposterous. "He's 9. He's just a boy," the woman said. I left it. A Nazi soldier was walking by, and I wasn't going to get caught talking. We'd been lined up so someone at the table ahead could process us. And slowly I made my way to the front. 3 Nazi officers sat at the table. The 2 officers on the sides wore brown shirts and pants, but the man in the middle wore the black of a senior officer. He looked immaculate. Guys, this means perfect, perfectly clean and all in order, with a shining black cap, polished medals, and neat white gloves like a traffic policeman. No one was so clean in a camp ever, not even the camp commandants. This was a man of importance. I could tell right away. He held a baton, which is like a club, you guys, in his right hand. And with a flick of it to the left or right, he was separating the line. One direction I knew would be for the camp work detail. The other would be for the furnaces. Good material this time, I heard him say as we got closer. Yes, Herr Dr. Mengele, one of the brown shirts told him. Next, Mengele told the man in front of me. How old are you? I'm 39. My wife is 36 and our son is 9. The man told Mengele. Are you healthy? Mengele asked the man. Yes, only my wife had pneumonia recently, and she's still weak from it. I closed my eyes. The man was telling them too much and not the right things. Your occupation? Mengele asked. I'm a clerk. Not anymore, Mengele told him. He waved his baton to the right for the man and to the left for the woman and the little boy. Capos came and pulled them apart. Wait, where are you taking them? The man asked, looking terrified. Papa, the boy cried. He reached for his father, but the SS officer pulled him and his mother away, while another officer pushed the father to the right. Next, Mengele said to me. How old are you? I stood as tall as I could. 18, I lied. Are you healthy? As an ox. I lied again. It was all I could do not to waver as I stood. What is your occupation? I could hardly tell them student. The man before had said clerk, and he'd been lucky they'd kept him. Bricklayer. I lied again. Herr Dr. Mengele pointed his baton to the right, and I joined the ranks of the other men and women who'd been kept to work. At least I hoped that was the group I'd been assigned to. Beside the new prisoners, the older prisoners like me looked pathetically weak and incapable of any kind of real labor. Where are they taking my wife and son? The man who'd been ahead of me asked the capo. The capo cuffed him with his club, making the man's lip bleed. Cuffed means he hit him with it. They're going to the gas chambers. Now shut up unless you want to join them. For a moment, it looked like the man might say that he would. Save your own life, someone whispered behind him. Just let them go. It's better for them this way. How can I let them go? The man cried. They're my family. I love them. But he stayed where he was, holding the back of his hand to his bleeding lip as he wept. When the selection was finished, one of the brown shirts addressed our group. Herr Dr. Mengele was done for the day. Prisoners, the brown shirt said, you are fortunate. You are strong enough to have been selected for work. Once all the Jews of Europe are collected into our camp, we will organize a new Jewish state for you, where you will be free. The new prisoners looked at one another hopefully. Some of them, like the man who'd been in front of me in line, no doubt thought this meant that his wife and son were still alive and just taken to a different part of the camp. They didn't know the games the Nazis played yet, the lies they told us for sport. You will be happy to know, too, that your stay here in the camp will cost you nothing. All the valuables you brought with you are at this moment being distributed among the camps, where they will be used exclusively for the benefit of the Jews. Another lie. At Birkenau, we had seen the stockpiles of riches in Canada, the camp storehouse. We had seen how the Nazis made the warehouse their own personal shopping center before shipping trainloads of gold and silver back to Berlin. Work, the officer urged us. Work will set you free. If you work hard, if you perform your duties faithfully, you will be attached to the Wehrmacht as service personnel. From there, you may even earn positions of authority within the new Jewish state. The new prisoners nodded, buying it hook, line and sinker. I didn't have the heart to tell any of the new Jews it was all a pack of lies. When the roll call was finished and we were sent to our new barracks, no one did. The new prisoners would learn soon enough, and they would accept the truth or they would die. That night, as I lay in the middle slot of my three-tiered bunk, I heard voices in the distance singing. I couldn't believe it, and I lifted my head to hear better. It was a lullaby my mother had sung to me when I was a child, but it sounded like it was being sung by a choir. Had I finally lost my mind? Was I going crazy? It's the women, the man next to me in the bunk whispered. They sing when mothers and their children are taken to the gas chambers. I listened to their song, distant and plaintive. How often do they sing? I asked. All day, the man said. All day and every night. All right, here's a picture. These should look familiar. This one is a picture that we have. I believe it's on our chapter notes of the little children that were involved in Mengele's experiment. These are some of the twins at Auschwitz. And here's a little faint picture of the gate and the train tracks. So it's like all blended in together. The gate, there's Arbeit mocked free. All right. Here's the prisoners these are actual pictures of prisoners as they arrive, carrying their belongings. And there's the old ones. And you can see the newer ones that are still dressed in their nicer clothing. And there they are as they're getting off the train cars. Mothers and children in line for the gas chamber. They're calm because they don't know they're minutes from death. They have no idea. They've just been sent to the right. And I've heard that a lot of the mothers could have lived, but they wouldn't leave their children. See, this mother has a baby, little ones. And remember the rule: everybody 10 and under, well, under 10 went to the chambers. And they talked about them being skin and bones, with shaved heads. Their eyes were sunk in their heads, their ears stuck out because they got so skinny that it made their ears stick out. Look at the bones. These were grown men. These were men living lives, fathers, and they're reduced to this. Here's the front gate at Auschwitz. There's tourists going in there. There's a drawing. This is the quote: "You come in through the front gate, but the only way out is through the chimney." And this is a drawing of the prisoners walking in the path. There were two electric fences. There's the crematorium. Obviously, they go to the gas chambers first. Now, this is just a little girl catching real snowflakes. But he was talking about a little girl catching the ash on her tongue, thinking it was snowflakes. The ash from the chimneys where they were burning the bodies of the prisoners that had been killed in the gas chambers. Now, this is an actual photo of Dr. Mengele. Er means Mr. Joseph Mengele was a German SS officer at Auschwitz who was known as the Angel of Death. He performed gruesome and deadly experiments on prisoners and selected victims to go to the gas chamber. After the war, he escaped to South America. He drowned in 1979 after suffering a stroke while swimming. Because he eluded capture, Mengele was never punished for his war crimes. So some of these big SS officers escaped to South America and lived happy. And some of them, like Amagoth, were caught immediately. And here's a picture of the officers, the Wehrmacht. If you work hard, you may be attached to the Wehrmacht as service personnel. And this explains that the Wehrmacht was the name of the unified armed forces of the Nazi Germany from 35 to 45. The Wehrmacht consisted of the Heer, or the Army, the Kriegsmarine, which was the Navy, and the Luftwaffe, which was the Air Force.